Hey everyone, Crash37 here to talk about Nintendo's E3 stream. Starting off with Pokemon Sun and Moon, we get to see a bit more gameplay. It looks like a bit of an upgrade from Gen 6, but not a whole lot, but I mean, what more could we expect out of that? Trainers are now present during the battles, so it gives like a little more background, makes it feel more realistic. You can see the scale of the actual Pokemon to the trainers, so you kind of get an idea of how big they are. Enemy trainers now have full 3D models with different expressions when they lose, instead of just a plain 2D drawing. But one of the biggest improvements is the lower screen. They pretty much completely rehauled the menu during battle, so instead of it being 4 slots for your moves, it's 4 down in a row. You can click on a little icon to read what your move does. Also, you can do something that I've been wanting personally for a long time, be able to actually look at information about your opponent's Pokemon while you're battling it. Just like opening up the Pokedex and looking at what type is this, what moves are effective against it. The more you battle a specific Pokemon, the more information you'll get from the Pokedex. And speaking of Pokedex, we get a new one that is actually haunted by a Rotom. So that's different. It's going to be like a helpful guide for you, give you tips, give you hints. Not sure what else it does besides that, but we also got an entirely new battle mode called Battle Royale or Battle Royale. I didn't hear it very well. Basically 4 trainers, 3 Pokemon each. When someone loses all their Pokemon, whoever has the most KOs wins. That looks pretty interesting. It's a free-for-all pretty much. It's not like anything that we've seen before. I'm pretty excited for it, but I guess we'll see what kind of other new features they add and what the rest of the Pokemon look like. So far, Litten is the best starter. Not a huge fan of Daycat, but Nightbat does look really awesome. And now the big announcement, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This game looks ridiculous. A huge open world Zelda game where you can go anywhere and pretty much do anything. Link can climb mountains, he can climb enemies, he can jump. When was the last time Link could jump? He can wear different clothes, different armor, use tons of different weapons, swords, bows, clubs, sticks, axes. Like since when does Link get an axe? He can chop down trees with that axe. He can take the wood from the trees to make a fire, use the fire to cook things. It's just crazy. You also get a gamepad looking thing, I'm sure they meant to do that, called the Sheikah Slate. It does a whole lot of things for you. It's like, your inventory, your menus, and it can freeze objects in time. It can create ice pillars. You can look through it like a telescope or binoculars and set beacon points. Reminds me a lot of Phantom Pain, actually. Speaking of which, the HUD is completely different. You still have your hearts in the top corner, but you also have a little sound gauge that lets you know how loud you're being so you can sneak around enemies. There's a temperature gauge which lets you know how cold Link is. I know it sounds stupid, but if you go into a cold area without a shirt on, then you start losing health because he's freezing. And also you can be shirtless. It's basically like the Elder Scrolls Hyrule. There's so much stuff that you can do, and they only showed a demo version of a portion of the game. So they showed about 2% of the map, I believe, and it was bigger than the entirety of Twilight Princess. There's a little bit of voice acting in it. In the beginning, the narrative is told by actual voice acting instead of just text. We probably can't expect a whole lot more voice acting from it, but I mean, that is a really nice touch. Like I said, there's food that you can cook and you eat that instead of cutting grass to get hearts. You can combine up to 5 food items in a dish and cook them together to create a whole new piece of food. It's pretty cool. You can also set a bunch of stuff on fire, like not just like pieces of puzzles like in past Zelda games. Like you can take a stick, stick it in a fire, and then light the grass on fire, bushes. They showed this thing where it was windy and they were cutting grass. It was blowing into a fire, and then that fireball would roll into other grass, eventually igniting some barrels and exploding. It just seems really cool for a Zelda game to have such an open world where you can do so many different types of things. The only thing that we're kind of unsure about is its place in the timeline. It seems like it would fit in nicely either before Skyward Sword or shortly after it. But there are Koroks in the game which are only in the adult timeline because of the Great Flood. evolving the Kokiri into the Korok. So we don't know where that fits in. Ganon is in the game, so that might give us a hint, but still it could be anything. Moving on, we got to see some Amiibo. So Bill Trinan said that these 3 Amiibo made for this Zelda game are the most detailed Amiibo that they've made so far. We have Archer Link, we have Rider Link, and then we have one of the Guardians, which is the giant machine that was in the first trailer. They also showed off a little bit of functionality. If you scan in the Twilight Princess Wolf Link Amiibo, Wolf Link will actually join you in the game as a companion, because there's no fairies, there's no fee, luckily. You're pretty much by yourself unless you scan in this Wolf Link, who will help you attack enemies. He'll help you hunt animals, which, by the way, you can hunt animals and cook their meat. The game also looks gorgeous. They said they based their style on anime, which you can kind of see. It's very colorful. As of right now, there's not going to be any difference between the Wii U version and the NX version. So if you skip the Wii U but you plan on buying an NX, or you have a Wii U and you're not planning on buying an NX, you're going to get the same experience either way. That's pretty much everything that was shown off during the Treehouse stream. They did have some new Amiibo on the floor. We're finally getting Wave 2 of the Super Mario series, which includes Daisy, Waluigi, and a Boo. Those are some new ones. They also had these little stands that you can set them on. Like they had one for Bowser's Castle with a fire bar that spins around. They had the pedestal for the Master Sword. It's actually a stylus, I believe. And they also had a level from the original Donkey Kong game. So that's all for day 1. Subscribe to the channel. Go follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to find out when we're going to release more videos. I believe Nintendo's doing a day 2, so when they do that, I will have another video for you. Alright, thanks for watching.